Over the course of human history, there has been a fascination with the moon and stars, and an urge to explore and travel the galaxy. Space exploration has always captured the imagination, but for some, the allure became a life's ambition to send man into the great unknown. By the end of the 19th century, inventors had developed an interest in space. Skillful theorists like Konstantin Tsiolkovsky in Russia were examining the fundamental scientific theories behind rocketry. They were beginning to consider the possibility of space travel. The transition from the small rockets of the 19th century to the sophisticated space age can be traced to three men in particular: Robert H. Goddard, Tsiolkovsky, and Wernher von Braun. But it is widely agreed that priority must go to Tsiolkovsky, who apparently in his teens became interested in the possibility of space flight. But the father of modern rocket propulsion is the American scientist Dr. Robert H. Goddard. During World War I, Robert Goddard developed a number of small military rockets for use as weapons that were launched from lightweight hand launchers. Robert Goddard kept most of the technical details of his inventions a secret and missed the chance to demonstrate his full genius. Wernher von Braun was one of the most important rocket developers and champions of space exploration between the 1930s and 70s. As a boy, von Braun was fascinated with the possibilities of space exploration by reading the science fiction of Jules Verne and H.G. Wells. Known as the leader of what has been called the rocket team, von Braun developed the V-2 ballistic missile for the German army during World War II at a forced labor factory. For 15 years after World War II, von Braun worked with the US Army in the development of ballistic missiles. In 1960, his Rocket Development Center transferred from the Army to the newly established NASA to build giant Saturn rockets. Von Braun became director of NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center and the chief architect of the Saturn V launch vehicle, the super booster that would propel Americans to the moon. NASA's first human spaceflight program was Project Mercury. Launched in 1958, about a year after the USSR, it signified the start of the space age with the successful launch of the satellite Sputnik 1. Von Braun became a prominent spokesman of space exploration in the United States during the 1950s, as the nation got ready to send man into orbit. The Man in Space program, Project Mercury, was an ambitious undertaking.
But a very substantial portion of our time, I would say more than 50% now, is directly devoted to the advancement of space flight. And then we have two programs in Huntsville. One deals with the so-called Man in Space program, so-called Project Mercury, which is sponsored by the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. The objective of this program is to put a man in orbit, for which an Atlas intercontinental ballistic missile will be used as a carrier. Now, we play the first part in this program in that we will provide some limited rides over ballistic trajectories of a few hundred miles range to these astronauts.
Tsiolkovsky, Goddard, von Braun. These early pioneers were the most important rocket developers. Thanks to their development, a clear understanding of the principles of rockets emerged, and only then did the technology of large rockets begin to evolve. The evolution of the rocket making it an indispensable tool in the exploration of space.